Greetings everyone. In this beginner-friendly video, I'm going to show you guys how I made this easy, beginner-friendly building generator in Blender using geometry nodes. Now the good thing about using Geo Nodes is that you can create such complex structures with just a few clicks of a button via this side panel here. You can freely change its width, length, and height, and it will respond accordingly with no error whatsoever. So before we get into crafting our easy beginner-friendly tool, you first need to make some assets. I suggest making a bunch of things you want to add to your buildings like windows, doors, pillars, and walls. Just make sure each asset occupies a space of 1 meter by 1 meter, though if you're unfamiliar with the metric system or an American, you might screw this up. The next requirement is that you need to be the ancient Greek mathematician Euclid. But don't worry guys, this is a beginner-friendly tutorial, and if you think that doesn't make sense, then that just means that you aren't the ancient Greek mathematician Euclid, and therefore too stupid to understand basic maths, idiot. Finally, you need to be insane. If you are not, a common method to decrease your mental stability is to cancel any more sessions with your therapist and lock yourself up in a sensory isolation room. Anyways, I'm pretty sure you're already insane enough if you made it this far into a Blender tutorial. Once that is done, we can create our project in Blender. So let us first delete the cube, then press Shift A and create a cube. Down in the modifier section of the side panel, click down on this drop down menu and create your geometry nodes. Press plus new to create your Geo Node network. Then you extend this bottom panel right here so that you can see your Geo Nodes. Now for the remaining time that we have, I'm going to be creating a bunch of node networks, and I'll be as slow as possible to make sure that you beginners would have an easy time following along. So with that being said, let us, and that is how I create my Geo Nodes, everyone. Now I forgot to mention in my requirements section that you should also be able to stop time because I work in a dimensional realm wherein time is not relative to hours. But in case you missed it, I first created a grid into my scene, then I use a group input node to freely change the amount of vertices in the grid. Then using a bunch of subtract math nodes, I create an equation that changes the width and length of the grid according to the number of vertices along the x and y axis. Then I use an instance to points node to instance all of the asset objects I made in Blender. But I don't want all of them to instance the same group of assets, so what do I do to make Blender think that I want two different meshes under one mesh? The separate geometry node. Duh. Now, it is then imperative that your nodes then ninjutsu 4 times so that 4 clones can be made to create the windows, roof, floors, and such. And if you want to ask me something, well, let me answer your question with another question. Did you forget to cancel your BetterHelp subscription? The next thing you should do is to combine all of your clones together before splitting them up again, because I'm a sadist. Then you modify each of these 4 clones to create the 4 walls. Then you bring back freaking Alan Turing from the dead, because I forgot to mention in our requirements section that you need him and his coding bullshit and his version of Windows in the 1940s to make another equation to make the walls move according to the length, width, and height of this building. And once that is done, do forget to save so that you can instead buy the same asset on my website for $80. So, where did everyone go?